Hey, it's Lexi, Marketing Manager at Over.
And I'm Taylor, Head of Marketing at Later.
And in this video, we're going to be teaching you how to design Instagram stories that'll leave your audience thinking, wow, how did they make that?
We're also going to teach you how you can optimize and schedule your stories to get more views and make sure that you never miss an opportunity to connect with your followers or your audience.
But if you're thinking, I'm not a designer, I don't even know the first thing about designing my own Instagram stories, then we're about to blow your mind. I'm going to be showing you 3 ways to design your own eye-catching Instagram stories all by yourself with Over. And to make sure you're creating something a cut above the rest, I'll be throwing a few insider design tips along the way. Let's do this.
Now, the first way I'm going to show you will literally cut your design time in half, because half the design work has been done for you. I'm talking about pre-designed layouts. You see, the key to any great design is the layout. What is a layout? It's where everything from your text to your images is placed on your design. Getting this right makes sure you draw attention to the most important parts of your Instagram story. It also makes sure your design isn't cluttered, a must for professional looking work. But getting it right the first time, not the easiest. Pre-designed layouts can make the job much easier by taking out all the hard work of figuring out exactly where to place your text, image, or video. Let me show you. From any tab in Over, you simply tap the big yellow plus button to start a project. This brings up the Create tab, and right over here is the Layouts feature. From here, you can pick from any of these untrained Instagram story design styles and simply fill in the blanks. You can change everything from the images to the text to the background. But more importantly, you can make it your own or something unique by adding elements that really make it stand out. One way to do this is with graphics. Graphics like gold brushstrokes, abstract shapes, and illustrations turn a simple design into something eye-catching and interesting. Another way to do this is with video. Video in Instagram stories is a must, but with layouts like these, you can actually add your video into something that looks a lot more professional. And if you don't have any good videos on your phone, then you can try something from our stock library. Animated video is big in the design community right now, and using them in your Insta stories will give you that instant wow factor. And of course, if you're using Instagram stories to promote your business or brand, you're probably going to want to use your own logo, which you can do here, or your custom font, which you can do here.
Remember to save your logo and font into an Apple folder on your phone before this so that you can easily access it from Over. I'd recommend using Google Drive or Dropbox. Now, the second way I'm going to show you will take your Instagram stories up a notch because you'll be using designs created by experts. I'm talking about templates.
It can be hard to imagine how awesome something can look when you have no visual references, and that's why we love templates. Scrolling through a feed of beautiful templates can help spark an idea and inspire your next set of Instagram stories.
But more importantly, since templates have been created by design experts who have taken the time to make sure the layout looks good, that it's fresh, new, and interesting, when you use one, the result will really stand out. Let me show you how to do it.
Head over to the template feed and tap here to see all the Instagram story templates. These are designed by our team every week and come editable so that you simply have to make a few tweaks before they're ready to share. The best part is that if you find something you like but don't want to use right away, you can simply tap the plus button here and save it to a folder for later. To edit a template, simply tap it to open it. Now, the most important thing to know about editing a template is how all the layers work together. Every single element on a template and on your design is a layer. The more elements you add, the more layers you have. To view all the layers of a project, tap the layers icon here. From here, you can see where each element sits on your design. The top layers are in front, the bottom layers are at the back. Layers can be moved around, deleted, and locked. In templates, some layers may be locked to keep the design and style in place. If you'd like to delete that layer or move it, simply tap it to unlock it.
Now, most templates come ready to share, but we recommend customizing a template to suit your style or brand. And there are 3 key ways to do that.
The first is to use your custom font, which we mentioned earlier. But if you don't have a custom font and you want to use a font that matches your style a little more, you can tap here to open the font library. Then pick fonts according to your look and feel.
Now, if there are 2 fonts in the template and you'll be changing both using fonts from the library, then use these 3 rules to pair fonts that work well together.
Rule number 1, pair handwritten fonts with bold angular fonts. Rule number 2, pair sans serif fonts with serif fonts. Rule number 3, pair chunky sans serif fonts with light serif fonts.
The second way to customize your template is to use your own image, or use a stock photo that suits your style.
You can easily find gorgeous stock photos using Unsplash or Pixabay in the app. One trick we use to find the right stock photo for a specific feel or style is to actually search by theme instead of searching for the exact image you need. For example, if your style is boho, then search boho in Unsplash.
And finally, the third way to customize a template is to use your color palette. If your brand has a specific color palette, or your style is minimal or edgy or bright, you're going to want to change the colors in the template to match that. And going forward, you're going to want to stick to those colors when you're creating your weekly stories. Why? Well, brand memorability is all about consistency. So sticking to a color palette in your Instagram stories is key to building that brand memorability, whether you're building a business or a personal brand. Now, if you don't have a specific color palette, well, here's a neat trick to help you find one.
In the search bar in templates, search for color palette. We've created color palettes based on current trends and brand styles. When you see something you like, simply tap it to open it. Each block here is a color in this image and represents a color in the palette. But here's the best part. You can save this palette to use in other designs. First, check to see if the blocks are locked in the template and simply unlock them in the layers. Then, tap on a block to edit it, then tap on color. This will open all the colors in the design. Each of these dots is a color in the palette. Now, to save this palette, tap this arrow here and it will open the Palettes tab. Simply tap Save Palette, give it a name and save it. You can also slightly tweak each color by tapping on it, tapping to edit and playing around with the color sliders. Then, when you've saved a palette, you can use it when editing a template.
So we've shown you 2 ways to design your own Instagram stories, both of which will literally cut your design time in half and keep you looking super professional. Now, the third way is for anyone feeling a little more brave and ready to face the blank canvas. It's time to start from scratch. Sometimes you have a picture in your head that you want to bring to life, and for those times you need a library of fonts, a few graphics, some images, and a set of powerful editing tools at your fingertips. But even when you're starting from scratch, you still need to know a few design rules, tips, tricks, and hacks. So before you get started, here are our top tips for designing from scratch.
There are 2 simple layouts that work every time. The first is the portrait layout. To create that, start with the iPhone preset. Change the background to something neutral for now. You can always change this later. Now that you've got your first layer, add a white rectangle in the center. Now add your text. First, add the most important text in the middle and make it a little larger. Then you're going to add text above and below that text. This is your secondary text. make sure to give it a little breathing room. This portrait layout can now be changed up by adding some graphic elements. Or by changing the color of the text. This neat trick helps you pick a color that will match something in the project already. In the second layout, I'm going to show you a simple collage that works every time. You're going to start with the iPhone preset size with a white background. For this, I'll create a travel themed story. First, add a portrait image in the top left corner. Add your next image to the right, touching the bottom right corner of the first image. A good thing to remember is to keep the white space around the images, top, bottom, left and right, the same. Just use your eye to do that. Now add text in the middle. For this design, I'm going to use a font that actually comes pre-paired with a complementary font. It's called Golden Youth. There are a few font duos like this in the app, and they make pairing a piece of cake. To use a font duo like this, duplicate the text, change the copy, then change it to the font pairing in its own belt. Make it smaller and add it to the center of the first word. You'll need a little contrast here, so I recommend changing the smaller text to a lighter color. Now, you want these images to literally pop off the page. To do that, simply add a soft shadow to each image. Tap to edit the image, tap shadow, then move the blur scale to create a soft shadow. And finally, to take this design a step further, add 1 or 2 graphics.
The next trick is all about blurring, and you can use blurring to create really interesting backgrounds. This works exceptionally well for Instagram stories with only one image in them. Let's try it.
Start a project and add your image in the center. Then duplicate that image. Tap into your layers and move that new image layer behind the first image. Now increase the size of that image so it fills the background. Then tap to edit it and scroll to the blur tool. Increase the blur so that it creates a really interesting textured background. Then make sure your first image pops off the page by adding a shadow to it.
And finally, our favorite tool of them all, the blend tool. The blend tool literally combines photos together to create interesting photo filter effects. Let me show you.
One of the best ways to use blending is to use an image with a graphic pack that has been created specifically for this tool. We have a bunch of these graphics ranging from glitter to bokeh to light leaks and glitch effects. Let's recreate this image using bokeh. Start with your image, then open the graphics library and search for bokeh. Bokeh is a visual quality of the out of focus areas of a photographic image. Pick the bokeh colors you prefer, then increase the size to fill the page. Now scroll all the way to the blend tool, then scroll over to lighten or screen, and voila! You can do this with a few other graphic packs of this style, like light leaks. And even glitch. And that's it for the tips. We hope this will get you starting from scratch and creating something awesome in no time.
See, you don't need to be a designer to create beautiful Instagram stories. You just need your phone, over, and a little inspiration. Taylor, what's next?
Once you've created your beautifully designed Instagram stories and over, you're ready to start planning out your Instagram stories. Posting regularly on Instagram stories is key to building an audience and increasing your views. And you can plan your stories just like you would plan all of your other social posts in your content calendar. I recommend having a content calendar for your Instagram stories, just like you would have a content calendar for your other social posts. So then this way you know what you're going to post on every day of the week. To make it easy on yourself, you can even theme certain days, such as Everlane's Transparency Tuesday or Flytographer's Wedding Wednesday. A great way to get started is to create a quick storyboard of your Instagram story to make sure that it all flows together nicely. By outlining a beginning, middle, and end to your story, you can make sure to cover all of the important points while still making sure that everything flows very naturally. This is also a great way to save time, share more stories, and stay consistent. Once you've planned and created your content, it's time to add it to your posting schedule. Your Instagram stories highlights are also a great way to highlight your new collections or save stories by category, so that all the work that you put into your stories will last for longer than 24 hours. Make sure that you upload cover photos to your highlights that are on brand and fit with your Instagram aesthetic. If you're not sure what categories of highlights that you should create, think about the landing pages on your website. If you're an online women's store, you might have a highlight for your newest collection, your best sellers, frequently asked questions, info about shipping, and maybe a fun about highlight where you can introduce your business and the people behind it. You can also schedule Instagram stories with later, which will save you a ton of time. You can sit down and plan, shoot, design, and edit all of your Instagram stories for the entire week at once. This will help you create better stories, and you won't have to be stressed wondering what you're going to post every single day. To schedule your Instagram stories with later, just upload your photos and videos to your media library like you would for normal posts. Next, click on the Stories button from your calendar view and drag and drop your content onto the Storyboard tool. From here, you can visually plan your stories with the Storyboard tool and rearrange them as needed, or you can add more stories. You can also add a caption or a swipe up link, which is super handy for saving those long, trackable URLs. Your caption or link will be copied to your phone when it's time to post. By taking the time to write compelling captions and CTAs from your desktop, you can drive more traffic and more sales through stories. To schedule your Instagram stories, select the time and date from the drop-down menu beside the Save Story button. When it's time to post your story, all of your content will be sent to your phone through a push notification, making it easy to post stories in seconds. Open the push notification and click Publish Story from the Later app. If you're publishing multiple stories, you can even upload them all at once with Instagram's new feature to make it even easier. When selecting your stories content, just hit Select Multiple to choose all of your story slides in order and then click Next. From here, you can add links, GIFs, or stickers for each slide, and when you're done, just click the next button to share right to your story. Planning and scheduling your Instagram stories won't just save you time, it can also take a lot of the headache out of creating a successful Instagram marketing strategy and ensure that you're posting your very best content. Finally, if you want to create a winning Instagram stories strategy, you need to have a clear idea of how to measure your performance. You can view your Instagram stories analytics in the Instagram app on your phone, or you can use Later's Instagram stories analytics in the web app. And unlike the analytics in the Instagram app, which only saves your stories metrics for 2 weeks, you can analyze up to 3 months worth of Instagram stories data with Later. Important metrics that you'll want to track include impressions, exits, and completion rates. While Instagram Stories Analytics provides you with the data, it's up to you to keep testing and tweaking your content strategy. Testing different types of content and Instagram Stories features can help you identify trends, monitor wins, and help you create a fine-tuned Instagram Story strategy that your audience loves.
Well, we hope this video has given you the inspiration, ideas, and knowledge that you need to create Instagram stories that'll captivate your audience. And if you haven't got over, what are you waiting for? Head on over to the App Store.
Thanks for watching. You can learn more about scheduling Instagram Stories with Later at later.com.